Hi, Anna.
Hi, Dad.
What's going on?
This is very enthusiastic today.
Well, I'm always enthusiastic when I see you.
Oh,
You make me enthusiastic.
you said you had a very busy day.
Yeah. Good.
What
but
made it busy?
Well, we're trying to get this new film off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So I spent this morning interviewing costume designers, which was
That's
fun.
fun.
Met some amazing designers. And then I spent the afternoon working with our DP, Danny Motor.
Nice.
So it was fun. It was just busy. And then, yeah.
I had someone ask me yesterday, like, when you're working on a bunch of different things, how do you kind of prioritize that or like organize that in your schedule? And I was sort of explaining how I try to go about it, working on multiple different things at a time and needing to like divide your brain. What is your like strategy when you have, at the moment you have your job on Law and Order, you have Shea Joey, which is in DC closing soon.
Mm-hmm.
You have hopefully going to Broadway. You have this new movie, whatever else you have going on that I don't know about. Like, how do you...
Far from the tree.
Way far from the tree. Yes, of course. What is your process for like dividing all of that stuff?
I'm not good at it, Anna.
You're not?
Oh, man. I honestly, my preference is to just focus on one thing and burrow down on it. That's my favorite. So being pulled in multiple directions, although I do like to be busy, I find hard. So number one, I really have to try and keep myself organized because I tend to not be the most organized person, or I'll forget things. And I don't like having an assistant if I can avoid it, because I just rather just take care of stuff. I have trouble delegating, so that's not helpful. So what I do is I make sure I write everything to make sure I'm organized, and then to avoid getting overwhelmed or distracted, I, pick the time that I need to be focused on whatever I'm focusing on, and then just commit to that without distractions. In other words, I just one step at a time, just start digging in at it, and not get so worried about all the volume of stuff. Just like one thing at a time, just chip away at whatever it is that I have to do. And for me, it works best when I don't allow myself to be distracted by the other things when I'm doing one of them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Totally. That's the thing that I definitely...
Because it's really easy to get like, oh, I'm doing this, but then someone's coming in and I have to answer that text, or I have to answer that thing, or someone else wants to get a hold of me. And I'm just like, you know what? It can wait. I'll deal with that other thing later. I
feel like you're better at that than I am. Billy's very good at that. Like, he can just sit down and focus on something for like 10 hours and not... And to my annoyance, not be distracted by anything else.
Yes.
But
Jane
I'm like,
will inevitably call me 5 times when I'm in the middle of something that I've said I cannot be disturbed.
But I struggle with it because, I've gotten better. For me, it's like if someone emails me or texts me, what I've started doing is I instead of responding to it, I just write down, like, reply to so-and-so. And so as long as I kind of get the task out of my brain without like fully engaging in it. But I feel like it can be very difficult for me when there's like a couple different, creative things that I have in my brain. Because it's one thing of like, oh, I need to make sure I'm not answering emails or whatever when I'm in the middle of working on something. But the thing that I struggle with is like, if I, for example, right now, it's like writing 2 different things, sort of working on one pitch, and then having this podcast and political playlist, which are, creative endeavors in their own way. Like, what I struggle with is that if I'm focusing on one thing one day, the shift of my brain to then focus on the other thing the next day, or like the second half of the day.
You find that very difficult to toggle between projects?
Yeah. Like
just creatively.
What I always say is, I'm like, I just wish that I could be in a state where at least I'm only writing one thing at a time. And recently, since the beginning of this year, I've been writing 2 or 3 things at the same time. And it's very difficult because sometimes it'll be like yesterday I was working on one script and then today I was working on another script. And so it's like the shift in my brain where I feel like because I have a hard time immersing myself in stuff in the way that you're saying, I almost need to be like, okay, this whole week I'm gonna be focusing just on
Uh-huh.
this so that I can like be in it. But sometimes that's not possible, and so yeah, I've
Well,
been trying. Yeah,
let me put this to you. I think that you need to do whatever you have to do that's gonna get you the best result.
yeah.
So, I understand that. Like, for me, I actually don't have that much trouble toggling between one creative thing and another because once I'm sort of in a creative flow state, like if I'm vibing on one project, I can switch to another and still be I could actually
Mm,
work pretty efficiently that way. But writing is different because I'm working on things that are already, iterated, I guess that is the word. They exist. Even
mhm,
if I'm giving notes on a script or something, or working with a writer, I'm not like in that thing of like, okay, I need to create this from nothing. Which I can imagine is very hard and requires a certain amount of immersion to get to that state where it's cooking. Is it possible for you to say, "This is how I have to do it. I need to give it at least X number of days in a row." In other words, is it just your anxiety of feeling, like, obligated
mm,
to do
a little
both at
bit.
the
I mean,
same
I
time?
did that early in this year. I had this script that I was writing about college sports that
Uh-huh.
I had been writing for a long time,
Right.
and I finally felt like I was getting to the point where I was gonna be done with it after many, many rounds of, people
Yeah.
reading it and whatnot, and the other 2 things that I was writing with are which are with other people,
Uh-huh.
I was like I told them, I was like, "I'm not gonna be able to work on it for this month because I need to finish this project." I also although at the same time, I was also rewriting a movie that hopefully
Uh-huh.
is gonna get me so, like, that was also hard because when it's, some that the movie feels more real, and so I obviously felt a responsibility more so to that. But yeah, I think that what it is for me in terms of, like, the toggling, I do feel like I can be like, put those boundaries up, and I have, where I'm like, I'm not gonna work on this because I have to work on this other thing. It does get a little bit complicated when there's someone else that I'm writing with because I
Right.
don't wanna be holding up their process. Um, so I like, one of the things that I was working on today is this script that we're, like, basically done with, and we just have
Mhm.
to send out for one more round of notes, and I was like, "Okay, I just have" because my co-writer did, like, a pass on it over the weekend, and today is Wednesday, I was like, "Okay, I need to just read this today and, like, make my final thoughts on it so that we can send it out," even though now I'm in the middle of 2 days where I'm gonna be focusing on the other thing that I'm writing. Um, so I do try to set up those boundaries, but I think sometimes it's hard, and
It
maybe it
is.
is my anxiety, but it's because I'm like, I don't want it's like I don't wanna be holding other people up, but I think it's more so that, like, I wanna make sure that everything is, like, moving along because projects and ideas can lose momentum so quickly even within your own brain or
Right.
your
Well,
collaboration.
here's the opposite advice. Get good at the other thing.
Yeah.
In other words, remove your anxiety about, "Oh god, this is hard for me," and be like, "This is what I need to do."
Yeah.
And I do believe, at least for me, that if you've got if you're if you're warmed up working on one project and you switch and just go, "I'm fine. I'm gonna
Mm,
now focus on this," even though, I worry that I mean, just,
yeah.
like, do that and shift and learn and get good at that if you feel that that's juggling. Like I said, it's sometimes because I have to work on a couple things at once, I just go back and forth, and I think, "Oh my god, I'll never get this done," but then I just go, "Well, this has to get done," and sometimes that pressure has a positive effect.
Yeah.
Because if you have
I
to do it, you just have to do
I
it.
think that is the thing, like, that is the option, and, like, um, you know, the 2 things that I'm writing right now, one is, like, a political drama, and the other is, like, a very small, like, neighborhood comedy. So they're also just very tonally different, so you're
Mhm.
kind of like, it's shifting my brain in that way too, but I think at the end of the day, to what you're saying, it is like, it's just writing, it's it is the same skill set you're bringing to both, it's just trying to kind of, like, live in both of the I think it's also living in both of those worlds in my head when I'm not working on them, like, making sure that they don't disappear from my psyche.
They won't.
Um,
First of all, they don't. They don't.
yeah,
In fact, so much of the stuff is happening and you're not even aware of it.
yeah,
So learn to just trust yourself and listen to that. And if you're just like, "No, I'm just doing it," it'll come up because it's been cooking in there. And
Yeah.
I do believe that, the more you're in that kind of creative flow, like working with somebody else, jamming on an idea, writing by yourself, it's all the same, uh, source you're just trying to stir up in terms of coming up with good ideas and so working from the right place, if you know what I mean, where you actually are, coming up with stuff and getting out of your, frontal cortex, whatever it is.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
so I do know that that's you you can't do it. It's just a drag. I mean, sometimes when I'm in the midst of something, I'm like, I really don't wanna leave this and go do this other thing. But
But you have to.
sometimes you just have to, and then you go like, "Oh, wow, I did that. I thought I couldn't, but I did. That was cool. I did 3 things today." So,
Um,
no easy answers.
I know. Well, speaking of, working
Ooh.
together and doing multiple things at once,
Oh, okay. That
how
I'll
was
buy
that?
that one. That's okay. Not our best
I
segue,
will
but
admit I tuned you out for the last 20 seconds to try to figure out
just
what the
try and
segue
figure
was
out what
gonna
yeah.
be.
Okay. Well, someone who I'm gonna talk about really knows how to multitask uh between feeding goats and tending horses on his Kentucky, uh, farm and being one of the best actors of our generation. How about that, Hannah? This
Wow.
man knows how to multitask, I guess, although he
Wow.
probably would say, "No, I don't." This pair is just another amazing conversation we have coming up today with 2 actors. The father, his big break came in Reality Bites, but he's been in movies like That Thing You Do, You've Got Mail, Saving Silverman, Happy Texas, War of the Planet of the Apes. If you're a fan of Treme, he gave an incredible performance in that television series on HBO, and more recently, in the first season of White Lotus, where he absolutely slayed, and also on Rash's Gemstones. But he won an Independent Spirit Award. He got a Primetime Emmy nomination for White Lotus, as well as 2 Screen Actors Guild Awards. This is the incredible Steve Zahn. So, and tell us about the other member of the Zahn family we'll be talking to.
So the other member of the family is his daughter, and his daughter Audrey is relatively new to acting. She had her on-screen debut in a film called An Uncandid Portrait, which Steve and his producing partner Rick Gomez produced in 2021, and it premiered at the Tribeca Film Festival. She has a recurring role coming up on the Apple TV show Imperfect Women, which by the
Starring Kerry
time
Washington.
I was gonna say
I'm
that.
sorry. I just wanted to give Kerry a shout out.
Which by the time that this airs, I think it has just come out on March 18th,
Yeah.
starring Kerry Washington, as well as Kate Mara and Elizabeth Moss. But most importantly, and what we really get into today, is that Audrey and Steve have a movie coming out on March 27th called She Dances that Steve wrote and produced, and his producing partner Rick Gomez directed, and he and Audrey star as father and daughter in the movie. And the movie's incredible. It's so moving. It capitalizes on Audrey's insane legacy of dance performance her whole life, which we talked to her about. And it's just really cool to see, like, hopefully you guys listen to this interview between them and then go see the movie,
Her
and you can kind of
performance is incredible, I have to say.
yeah, she's amazing, and you can just kind of feel, like, the palpability of their relationship, even though obviously the relationship in the movie is slightly fictionalized, but a lot is pulled from real life, which is always a cool thing to see. And, yes, Steve joins us from Kentucky, as you said, from their farm, which was
Sounds
fun.
really cool. And he said there were, like, horses grazing out the window, so
Yeah.
I was a little jealous.
So be jealous as you're listening or watching this.
But they're both beautiful people, and it's a beautiful relationship, and, let's go meet Steve and Audrey Zahn. First of all, we're gonna get to it, but I just want you to know we both loved
Your
She
movie's
Dances so
amazing.
much.
Aw,
You're
thank
both incredible in this movie, so we're
thank you.
super, we're thrilled to be able to tell people that they have to go see it. And
Awesome.
since I'm mentioning it, March 27th, right? That's when it comes out
Yes.
in theaters?
March
Yes.
It's really
27th.
beautiful. Incredible work, both of you.
Congratulations.
So we're gonna get to that. But the first thing, Ann and I were talking about, Steve, is you're, this you're kind of the way you got into our game is so amazing. Can you kinda tell us about this? That you tell me if I'm wrong, but you were living in Minnesota, right? And
Yeah.
you had not had any exposure to it, but you saw a production of Les Mis and you left school and went to become an actress that I wanna do is that true?
Yeah, kinda. It's over a longer that sounds like a weekend, but it was over.
Yeah, right. That's what it did sound like.
That's the movie version.
Yeah. No, I was at college, and I went to London on a trip, like a January credit, whatever, and I went with this dance group, and then I stayed longer, and I just went to see theater, and I'd never been exposed to theater, outside, high school shows and stuff. And I saw Les Mis, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing, and I remember at intermission, I went into the bathroom and I thought, "I don't wanna be in here with these guys. I wanna be backstage."
Mm.
It was really that simple, and then I remember sitting there thinking, "I know I'm as good as that guy." Like, not the guy singing, he's great, I can't do that. I'm as good as that guy right there, for
I can at
sure.
least be like a townsperson.
Exactly, I could hold a flag and carry a tune. So, anyway, that was really it, and just being exposed to that kind of caliber of theater and being excited, and then just having the idea of, "Oh, right, you actually can do this for a living.
Mm.
This isn't just a hobby. This is oh, that's fascinating."
Were you already a performer? Kind of was that a part of you already, and then acting really
Yeah.
just took over?
Yeah, no, I was I played Will Parker, in Oklahoma in
I was
high
gonna
school.
ask
So
about
that story in the
that
movie
monologue in the
is
movie.
true?
I had to assume that was true.
You have to sit through if you can at the very end of the credits, there's this little gem that comes up, and I didn't know it was in there. And our friend Scott found this interview that I did in the dressing room at high school,
Oh my god.
Oh, I didn't stay through all the credits.
and it's
Okay,
at
wait.
the very
Just for
end.
context, so people know when they see the movie, there's this monologue about halfway through where Steve's character, who plays the father, obviously, is telling his daughter, who's kind of been resistant to him throughout the movie, this story about this foray into acting in a regional production of Oklahoma. And as I was watching it, I was like, this has to be the way you were performing it. I was like, there's no way this didn't happen to him, or he's just maybe the best actor on the planet. But that I was so taken by that monologue and the moment in
It's
the
one of my
movie. So
favorite moments in the movie, but
yeah.
it's actually a combination of 2 things 'cause I was working in a machine shop after I dropped out of college and was gonna be an actor. I was working in a machine shop, making parts for cassette players and grenades, and I
Are those
auditioned.
the same parts?
um, well, I don't know, I was making parts, it was insanely
You did
boring.
not tell me that.
And and then I auditioned for Biloxi Blues at this professional theater, and I hadn't heard anything for a week, and I called at my lunch break, and so and she said, "Oh my god, we were just gonna call you.
That's
You wanna do
amazing.
this
And
play?"
that was a theater in Minneapolis?
Yeah, it was called the Old Log Dinner Theater.
Oh my gosh, a dinner theater.
Yeah, like an 800 seat dinner theater. That was my
Wow.
first
That's
gig.
so awesome. And so you did Biloxi Blues and then you dropped out of college after that?
I had already dropped out, and then
Oh,
I'd
you'd
met.
already, okay.
Yeah, and I'd met, some of the cast were from New York guys, and they were like, "Hey, you should go train. You need to, like, hone in on this."
And then
Wait, and
so
then you
how
went to
many
Harvard, right? To the grad
Yeah,
program at
it was
Harvard?
the
Is that
American.
ART? Is that affiliated
Yeah,
with ART?
that's what it was,
Right,
yeah.
right, right. Wow.
Mhm.
Whoa,
Yeah,
that's a
so we
jump.
went there and then New York and
Right.
and then what then was the first kind of big thing that you were in Reality Bites? Was that, like, your big kind of first role?
film.
Film,
Yeah,
yeah.
'cause Ethan and I were doing a play at Playwrights Horizon, and Ben Stiller came to the to see the play. That's how I got an audition, I think.
Had you and Ethan already formed your theater company was Malapart? Is
Yeah,
that what you
Melford.
guys Yeah, with Robert and yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was
That's
right
right.
at that time, right
Oh,
after
okay, how
we came
cool.
back and then started that.
And so Ben Stiller just saw the show and he was like, "I want you guys."
Well, I had to read, I had a and it yeah, and I was up it was between me and Noah Wyle.
Oh
Wow.
my gosh. He did alright.
Noah's
Yeah.
having a good year, good
Yeah,
couple of
that's
years.
just
He's
whenever I'm
so
like,
brilliant on that show. Have you been watching his show?
I haven't seen it.
Oh
Oh,
my
man, check it
god.
out.
Audrey,
His
have you
work is
watched it?
Watching it.
fantastic.
Oh, you guys have to
It's
watch it. It's
really
pretty
he does
fantastic.
such good work. Really, he's so good. But wait, we need to jump quickly to you, Audrey, 'cause I was really blown away by your performance in She Dances. I
Thank
really like, I can't believe that this is the first big role that you've done, right? Is that
yeah.
true, or have you done a lot of other stuff as an actress?
Well, I was doing musical theater before that, so
Okay.
this is technically my first big film. I did some small films, like I did Ethan Hawke's Wildcat film that
Mhm.
he did, like a tiny moment in that. And then, like when I was 16, I did a dance film with Rick Gomez, who directed She Dance.
Mhm.
So that's kind of how that came to be in the
Got it.
future. But just little stuff, honestly.
Wow, 'cause
Yeah.
I'll embarrass you now, but I was what really blew me away about your performance is so sophisticated. Like,
Thank
it
you. I
made me think so much, as I was watching the movie and then afterwards about this young woman who's like, you you seem to, power down your some, sort of like close the valves on so much of her emotional her emotions and her emotional sensors, I guess, given the trauma that she has been through. And yet it also, because she's so chill, she's really cool. So what you think is like this really cool girl, you start to realize she's just put these kind of baffles on her emotional life, and it obviously is inhibiting her relationship with her dad and all these kinds of things, and then late in the film, they open up, and I was like, "Wow, man, I just know." We've just met, but I suspect that's not you, and I also suspect, there's this movie it's about a father and a daughter who, because of a family trauma, their communication lines have just shut down completely, and it's how they rediscover each other really and themselves. So I just found that so incredibly subtle and skillful and powerful. Anyway,
thank
that's my
you.
little thumbnail review. I thought it was just stunning. I really was so impressed. So it amazed me that this was an early work of Audrey Zahn.
Early work. Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
Did
does that resonate with you? Had you thought about that what I said, does that resonate with you about what you were thinking about Claire, the character you play?
Yeah, no, I love to hear that actually because the whole time I think Claire just she needs control over herself. She's just trying to control as much as she can because there's a lot of things that she can't right now. It's kind of like the weight of grief as a young person and not really knowing how to carry it. So she just pushes it down, doesn't talk about it until she feels like she has to
Yeah.
to get her dad back, basically.
Right.
What was that, like, journey for the 2 of you? I mean, obviously, there must be so much that you pulled from your actual relationship, but Steve, you're not an estranged father from
Yeah,
your daughter, so there's obviously a lot of differences in your real relationship. Audrey, specifically, I'm curious because this is, a new profession for you. I always wonder with actors, like, how do you both pull the things that you need from your relationship with your dad in real life, but also embody the character and kind of leave some of real life behind?
yeah. Well, I mean, dad and I have always been really, really close. I would say my dad, especially as I've gotten older, has become one of my best friends. Like we
Oh,
talk on the phone every day. We're two peas in a pod for sure. So I guess in a way it was nice to do my first thing with him just because it was so comfortable
Hmm.
and I felt comfortable with him being my dad. And I guess the estrangement was like, I don't know, I guess that's just the acting of it all. I really don't know how to, like, profoundly explain how I figured that out, but I guess the parts where I really, love Jason, or the parts where you kinda notice were very similar, came very
Mhm.
naturally, because dad and I are real dad and daughter.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
about you for you, Steve? I mean, how did that approach take shape for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's really it's interesting because when we were working, we were just working. I felt like I was just with another actor.
Mm,
Um, he has just this that's thing you can't teach. I don't know. There I knew she'd be really good, and then as we started working, it was like, "Oh, wait, no, she understands what it means when that lens pushes in really slowly and what to do, what not to do." And that's a gift.
mhm,
But I was doing a show in London, and, Audrey came out for almost a month, and this was right before when I wrapped out, I flew to Kentucky, and everyone was already here prepping, and Audrey and I we read the script every day,
mm,
at least once. So it goes back to that old school kind of like, that that secret thing that you can do called rehearsal, and we don't do it anymore, you know? Sometimes we go on set now, and we don't even rehearse on the day. It's
Right.
insane. Uh, so we really spent a lot of time, we budgeted for that. Rick and
mm,
I, that was really important to us. And Mackenzie, who plays her friend,
Who
this
is
was
also
yeah.
wonderful.
great, and
Right.
this was her first movie, and so we just spent a lot of time sitting in a room and talking and reading and doing forehead promises and getting used to each other, so that and part of that was just because we didn't have time, it was a tiny budget,
Steve, how did you, in writing this, um, conceive of the idea and kind of then push it down, as a producer? I mean, just to kind of illuminate for people who don't know how indie film is made, it's really hard. And so what was the process for you, both from like using Audrey as inspiration to write this story, I assume, and then getting it made?
yeah, well, it the birth of this was I took her, to a national dance competition. She represented Kentucky or Tennessee, I can't remember,
Wow.
and
Kentucky.
yeah, I think so, yeah, bluegrass, and then, it was a great experience, and it was I was moved, and it was
Yeah, it was my last one, like, senior year last competition, and mom
Mm.
couldn't go.
and I
Oh,
kept
wow.
talking to, Rick and Kobe, our editor producer, and they were like, "Hey, there's a movie here," and I was like, "Yeah, there is," and then so that's where it started, and then we had a producer, Jason Reed, who's a great producer, call us. It was during COVID lockdown and was like, "Hey, do you want a story that's, like, means something? Do you have
Mm,
anything?" We're like, "Yeah, we're kicking around this idea." And that's when we started, you know, thinking about the hurdle would be grief,
Mm.
yeah.
and that's how it was born. And knowing that world because Audrey has been dancing since she was, what, 4, 3? And we've
Mhm.
been going on these trips and to Chattanooga for the weekend, and you're in a dark theater for 3 days, and you're smuggling in Chick-fil-A, and and it's everyone's stretching, and it smells like Doritos, and so I knew that world so well, and I knew that we would have because I knew it, and because locally I had this connection to these schools and everything, and Audrey's connection to the world, we could make a movie for a lot less than
Mm.
you know. I mean, we shot at a year before we shot the movie, we went to a dance competition, and we got everybody to sign
Oh,
away,
wow.
and we
Oh,
just sh
wow.
and we had, like, a crew of 4 people, we had 2 cameras, and we just shot.
So all that footage of all the girls dancing and stuff was just real or were the
Yeah.
Yeah.
all the solo stuff and all the extra
Wow.
stuff and the stretching and the hallways and that was all from that competition.
Amazing. So obviously, when you said Rick, you said to Rick, "There's a movie here." Was obviously your intention always was that Audrey would play Claire?
Yeah.
And so that was a couple of so when you would have been probably still in high school, I'm guessing when well, you had said it was your senior year when you went to that competition. So in those couple of years, Audrey, had you already decided that, acting was something you really wanted to maybe make a life or a major part of your life?
Yeah, well, initially, I really wanted to go the Broadway route. I went
Mhm.
to a music conservatory, and I was kinda going in that direction, and the goal really was to keep dancing as long as I possibly could, because dancers just have a longer career if they
Yeah.
learn how to sing and they learn how to act and
Mhm.
all that good stuff. But I actually did a complete 180 when I did the movie,
Hmm.
because I was like, "Oh, no, this is my thing. Like, this is my
Mm.
book." I kinda realized, and part of me felt bad for not continuing down the theater route because I also dropped out of college to do professional theater, um, which was great and everything, but I don't know, it just didn't work out that way, and that's
Right.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm happy
Sometimes
that
you have
I
to
got.
listen to what life's telling you.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I kept going, and it's going pretty good.
And
What do you
you're doing, also this month, Imperfect Women comes out,
Mhm.
which you're also right with my friend Kerry Washington, yeah.
No, I
Wow,
love.
yeah. Oh, that's great, I can't wait to see it.
what was it like just to ask a question about that really quickly, like, obviously, you've had your dad in your life forever, but working with those 3 powerhouse women and kind of getting the perspective of I mean, just some of the most amazing actresses that are out there, what was that like?
Dude, I was, like, pinching myself every day while I was there. It was crazy. And specifically Carrie, because I worked with Carrie the most, was so nice about everything. And Kate
That's
Mara was
amazing.
amazing, like, so fun to act with. And
And
Kate Mara and I have the same acting teacher
mhm.
randomly. We figured that out, which was cool. But I had such a good time. It
Oh,
was, like,
so cool, I
really
can't wait to see it.
Yeah, it's super exciting.
So Steve, you made a choice to bring you and your wife, who's also an artist, a great writer. What you guys made a choice to get away from New York, away from LA,
Mhm.
to buy a farm in Kentucky to raise your kids, right? So how did you guys come to that decision, and how did you feel like that, what was happening in your career at that time? Had you already kind of taken off and were working all the time and had quite a thriving career when you made that decision?
Well, here's the thing. So, my wife and I met doing the national tour of Bye Bye Birdie, right? This, like, 13-month tour with Tommy Tune and Ranking. It was a
Mm.
great tour. We made this money, and we were young and dumb, and we had an apartment, and then we decided, "Hey, let's buy a cabin for a weekend place in the Poconos." And then, of course, the next month we didn't work, and we had to get rid of our apartment, and we moved to the Poconos. So we
Oh,
were crazy people that did theater. She was doing Broadway, and I was doing plays, and we were commuting from
Wow.
Pennsylvania. So we created this lifestyle, and, that and then we moved into Jersey, and we lived on a farm there. So we kinda always lived outside. It was kind of a unique kind of existence that we had. And then when we had kids, we just realized, wow, West Central Jersey, man, I don't know, there's not a lot out here, man. So we decided to move to Kentucky, um, where my wife Robin is from,
Mhm.
and it was the best thing we ever did. So these
wow.
kids, Henry and Audrey grew up on a farm, with animals and forts and hay and poison ivy and skunks and all that good stuff. And we try to give them as many different things as here's a soccer ball, here's a lacrosse stick, here's swim, here's a computer, here's paints.
Yeah.
And it's just interesting how here she is.
So it
What
wasn't really a decision about raising your kids initially, it was just you and Robin It was what you guys preferred, and you would just commute into New York if you had auditions and stuff in the early days and go
Yeah,
where you needed to go?
yeah, pretty much. I
Yeah.
mean, but it was about giving them opportunities, and we knew that there were more opportunities in like Lexington, Kentucky, than there was in the Delaware Water Gate.
Mm,
Right.
That's
yeah.
all. You know.
Yeah.
I'm curious, Audrey. So very different, but sort of similar. So I grew up in Connecticut,
Oh,
and like not different than Kentucky. Everyone in my town, like their parents worked in like investment banking, and my parents were really the only kind of like creative parents that were there. And I have to imagine you had kind of a similar experience, minus maybe the investment banking part, but in Kentucky of having parents that did this thing that was so different culturally from where you were. Were you aware of that? Like, how did that play into your childhood? And then I guess especially like middle school and high school is when I became acutely aware of how kind of different my parents' jobs were.
yeah, that's a good question. I think when I was younger, I kinda didn't realize it very much. I was
Yeah.
just like, "Oh, cool. I'm a kid. I'm gonna play games." And then as I got older, because I went to such a small school, because my parents put me in a school where, like, I started at pre-K and went all the way through high school, I noticed that everybody's parents were kinda doing something else. But at that point, I feel like most of the kids I was around got so used to me and dad and everything that it was pretty normal. I saw it more outside of school maybe, but yeah, it is kind of an interesting existence for sure. It's funny that you kinda had the same thing.
I totally did. I mean, it was a little bit different that we were very still close to, New York City, and so there was kind of that element of it was familiar, but, like, I think I just had this cognizance. I went to a public school, so it was a bit bigger, and I always had this cognizance of, like, um it was cool. It was very cool. Like, I definitely felt like, "Oh, my parents do something much cooler than your parents."
Yeah,
Like, your dad sells insurance? Okay.
in
But
Kentucky, everybody's in the horse business, which is
that's also
Oh,
kind of cool,
right.
though.
it is cool, it is cool. It's very cutthroat, surprisingly. I did
Yeah.
not know till I grew up in it, but it's very interesting.
So in the horse business, like, so
Yeah.
is that
Like, buying and selling horses?
buying and selling horses and raising horses, is there a whole, like, hierarchy of
Yeah,
who's on top and where people fit in the pecking order in the horse business? Like,
Oh, sure.
absolutely,
really?
Oh, yeah, for
absolutely.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, we
So the
live
status is associated in your world with that. Is that
yeah,
right?
in Kentucky for sure. Like, we live around thoroughbred farms, so and thoroughbreds are the horses used for horse race.
Every window that I look out, like, is like, right now, all the little babies are over there. It's
Oh
so
my
cute.
god.
Oh.
Yeah,
Moms and bulls just running through these fields here. But we're surrounded by it,
Wow.
just like, we were invited to parties because we were just different. We're different, and
mhm.
they don't we were like we realized, "Oh, we're jesters."
I literally Jane and I were the same because my wife's a production designer in movies, and so I used to say, "Jane, we're the people in the funny hats."
Yeah.
And because all these people are like, power bankers would wanna be friends with us. They go, "You do what? Oh, I saw you in a movie. Oh, what do you" or whatever it was.
Right.
That's exactly I used to joke
Yes.
around. It was so funny.
But then there's this kind of, like, level of, like, when you're like, I've been here 22 years. There is this kind of weird place where they know what you do, but you're not really part of that world, otherwise you wouldn't be
You'd
here.
be in Kentucky if
You
you're
know, like, yeah.
Right.
under
So
that
you're not really, like, you
Right, you're not Mr. Hollywood.
But
know.
even though when people, like, see you on White Lotus or something that really blows up, that it didn't really have an impact in that way?
No, I mean, that now it's a little different because of that's a water cooler show. I've never been in a
Yeah.
water cooler
Yeah.
show, or a movie,
Right.
and that's a different experience. That's like, "Oh, wow, this is insane." Um, but for a long time, I was just like I would get people go like, "Oh, do you I still get it. Like, do you still act?"
Yeah, me too.
I mean, most of the time, if somebody, "Do you still act?" I go, "No, I gave it up. There's no
Oh my
money."
god. My favorite story of my dad was like when I played basketball when I was younger, there
Oh
was like
god.
one of the dads went up to you and was like,
Oh, wait, can I tell the story?
yeah, tell the actual story.
So Anna was 10, and, and I had signed up to be the assistant coach on her basketball team, and the
Nice.
guy who was the head coach, I had not met, and we show up for the first practice, and he looks at me, and he goes, "Ah, you look exactly like this guy," and I'm ready to go, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah."
Yeah.
And he says, "This guy, oh my god, my wife, she took me to the worst movie on Friday night. The worst movie. I think it might be the worst movie I've ever seen." I go, "Oh, really?" He said, "Yeah, it was this Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, and it was this movie I did called The Sixth Day, which was, albeit a pretty cheesy movie, but it was me and Arnold and Robert Duvall, who I was thrilled to work with, and
Yeah.
and so I go to the guy, I go, "Yeah, that's me. I was in the movie." And, like, in New Canaan, Connecticut, he just I could literally see steam coming out of his ears because he just couldn't make sense of the fact that I said, "Yeah, that was me in that movie," and that he was talking to an actor, and I thought he was gonna have a seizure. I said, "It's fine, no problem."
Audrey, like, you went to a small high school. Were there a lot of creative people? Did it feel like you were also doing something really unique? What was that journey for you in being like, "Oh, I'm gonna go do this creative pursuit." How did people view that? How do you view it?
Yeah, I mean, when I was at school, I went to, like they call themselves, like, a college preparatory school, so
Okay.
they're, like, planning for all the kids to go be lawyers and doctors and stuff like that, so nobody really understood what I was doing, and I remember, like, a lot of my classmates got recognition for what they were doing, and I tended not to.
Mm.
Like, they just and also, like, whenever I did plays at school, like, we didn't have a theater. Of course, we had a huge football field where, like, our not very good football team would and then we would go perform our shows in the public library on this, like, tiny little black box
Wow.
stage. Like, it was kind of like that, and I remember specifically, like, when I was, well, auditioning for schools because I wanted to go to a music theater program. Because you have, like, a college counselor in high school that, like, helps
Mhm.
you. They're like, "I'm gonna be honest, Audrey, like, we don't you're just gonna have to do this, like, we don't know how to help you with this," and I had people straight up tell me, like, you're not gonna be successful in that.
Yeah.
It's not gonna work for you." But I've been delusional since I was a kid, and I just decided that it was gonna work for
Yeah,
me.
that's a requirement, I would say. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Steve, but
Audrey got into a really good school called Baldwin Wallace, and
Oh, right, yeah.
very few people get in there, and she won't say that, but we were extremely proud of that, and she, spent 2 years there and then was working in a theater that wanted her to stay there and keep working, and, uh, and it was like, yeah, no-brainer. If they wanna pay you, stay there, leave school. So,
Mm.
but sh that was really cool when she got into that. I was really proud of that.
Yeah, Audrey, when you were at Baldwin Wallace, did you love it, or did you feel like this isn't quite what I thought I was gonna be getting myself into?
I loved aspects of it for sure. I'm gonna be honest, I did not have a very good time at conservatory, and maybe that was just you're, like, stuck in this, like, tiny group of kids that are like, big fish from small ponds from
Mhm.
all over. It was right after the pandemic. I think it was just a bad mix, but I learned a lot, especially musically, because I was technically getting my bachelor's in music, and that's why I wanted to go to this school because I wanted to be a triple threat, basically. I
Right.
wanted to even everything out so I could do anything, which I finished all my music requirements, luckily. So I got what I needed out of the
Mm.
program. But once I started auditioning and actually getting stuff, I was like, I'm not the happiest in this space.
Mm.
And I know, and honestly, like I grew up dancing a lot, like a lot of training from a very young age. and the conservatory was extremely intense, and I was a little worried I was gonna burn out.
Mhm.
Mm.
So I decided that I just needed to, like, go into it
Yeah.
and make it work, and I'm so glad I did because I think I would have been in a different place now if I hadn't
Yeah.
done it, although it was extremely scary to leave school.
Had you done the film already? Had you shot the movie when you stopped?
No, we knew it was potentially gonna happen, which is part of the reason I dropped out because I got work at this theater called the Fulton Theater, in Lancaster, Pennsylvania,
Oh
which
my
is
god, I know the Fulton Theater.
Do you?
Can I tell you something? When
Yes.
I went to college in upstate New York for a couple of years, and it was right when I was like, "I'm gonna be an actor. This is what I'm gonna do." And I had heard there was this thing called the Straw Hat Theater booklet or something like that had all the summer theaters around the country, and there was a summer theater at the Fulton Opera House in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and I found this and I sent in my non-existent resume for doing, like, school plays, and I drove for 8 hours 'cause it was the very first audition I ever did in my life other than, like, school, and I drove 8 hours to from upstate New York to Lancaster, and I remember the Fulton Opera House, and I was so excited to be in this beautiful, like, Victorian theater, this little I mean, it seemed huge to me, but I think it was like an intimate old theater, like a vaudeville theater or something from
Mhm.
and I just remember being and sitting backstage waiting to go on an audition, and then I went in and sang my song and did whatever I guess I did a monologue or something, and in the darkness, they said, "Thank you," and then I drove 8 hours back to
Oh,
college, but I was like I didn't care, I was so excited to and this friend of mine was like, "I'll drive with you," and
wait.
my friend drove with me, we took this road trip, and that was the that's
That's so
crazy, I
funny.
forget it was run by a I felt like a college that's nearby, they had a summer theater, I don't know if they still do, but I remember that theater, that's amazing.
That is
So they
hilarious.
have a professional theater company now?
They do, yeah.
Whoa.
It's a good one.
It's a lot of Broadway people go there,
Oh,
and I
wow.
mean, it's a caliber. It's, like, really good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you
No,
do? What did you do there?
so first I did Grease. I was
Uh-huh.
Patty Simcox, and then I did Joseph and the Tech Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, a
Yeah.
Cirque du Soleil version, which was crazy, and
Whoa.
then
Whoa.
I did Peter Pan, and I was Tinkerbell,
Oh my
and
Oh
that
my
was
god.
gosh. So you got that while you were still in conservatory?
Yeah, I got Grease when I was still in conservatory, and then once I did Grease, because technically I wasn't Patty Simcox when I got there, I was ensemble and understudying Patty Simcox because you kinda have to work your way up and everything, but she got hurt, so I ended up playing her for the
Whoa.
whole run, and then they asked me to come back for
Wow.
the show.
And your school allowed you to do that? Because most schools don't let you work while
They
you're in conservatory.
My school was good about that, like, if you got an opportunity, they would let you kind of leave and do online or, they would figure it out with
Mm.
you. However, I already knew I was kind of not happy there anymore, and I got that much work for, 6 months, and then I knew the movie was coming up, and I was like, I'm gonna drop out." I
Yeah.
took
Wow.
a gap year,
Yeah.
basically.
Mhm.
That
Yeah,
all
right.
worked.
A gap year.
That's crazy 'cause the movie was like I mean, we were right there, like, if it doesn't happen now, it's not gonna happen. It's not
Yeah.
gonna happen,
Yeah.
It was that close.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow,
Steve,
that's an
I
amazing
mean, just
story.
hearing this whole story from Audrey, like, that journey is I mean, it's amazing and, it feels very it's a very unique journey. It seems that you kinda went on to get where you are, Audrey. Steve, as a parent, for you and Robin also being creative people, what was that like watching Audrey kind of through the end of high school, that journey through conservatory into the theater? What was it like as a parent witnessing that evolution of your daughter?
I mean, we were excited because she was good,
Yeah.
It's like, she's an amazing dancer. She's an amazing singer. It's insane, right? But I remember seeing her on stage in high school, and I was like
Oh, you're talking about Eurydice.
yeah, and I was like, "I think you're a
Hmm.
better actor than you are
Hmm.
a
Did you say
dancer."
that?
I said, "Yeah."
You did say
And I was right. And I
Yeah, because
could
that
just,
was my I was literally just
you
gonna
know,
ask you that. How did you know? Like, especially giving that's a big thing even to write a movie, and that puts a lot of pressure on your daughter in a way, like, "I'm gonna write a movie that you're gonna star in, and the 2 of us are gonna do this for your first movie that you have to you know, I mean, that is a beautiful thing and amazing, and I'm sure it was so much fun, but also that's a load to put on but you knew
yeah,
early
but
on, you were like, "No,
it
she's"
wasn't like,
you knew
hey,
how good she was.
yeah, it wasn't like, I'm going to write this movie for you. It was like, we're going to write this movie. Rick and I have this idea, and you're the only person that can play it.
Mm,
Mm,
You're the only person that we know can actually play this part.
mm,
And so that was really it. I mean, truthfully.
yeah.
And so when we wrote it, like Rick and I wrote it and we gave it to these guys. We gave it to Audrey and just said like, I don't know, what do you think? I mean,
Uh,
Rick and I wrote the relationship between those two as if it was Rick and I.
mm,
We just two pals, basically. We didn't write in the voice of an 18-year-old young woman.
Mhm.
mhm.
We can't do that. So we wrote it for us. And then they took it and they ran with it and they made it their own, and it was beautiful.
Audrey, when you read it, just to follow up on that, when you read it, what was your reaction? Like, I
mhm.
assume you knew they were writing it, but what did you feel kind of seeing that story on paper?
I I'm gonna be honest, I cried really hard, and then I took a really long walk.
Mm,
'Cause it was like it's really crazy reading something, and I'm not saying it's my life, but it was very close to what I
Mhm.
experienced. And it was almost like, "Oh, shoot," like, I'm about to perform my life, basically, my all these years of training, and it made me happy, now that I'm done with it, like, looking back, I was like, "I'm so happy I got to just put it all out there." Like, all those years of dance was 100% worth it. It's there, it's done, and I'm so, so, so grateful for that, actually.
Mm.
mm.
Yeah, it's cathartic.
Yeah, it was very full circle. It was like a gift for me in a
Yeah,
way.
that's
Yeah,
really
it's a
sweet.
very personal movie and for all of us. And if you watch the credits, you're gonna see Zahn, Gomez, Hall. There's these families that we know. The Jamie Harbinger, who was the choreographer on this, I knew him as a kid. He lived upstairs here. He's like a son to me,
Mm,
right?
Mm,
We didn't have to go. It's just amazing the talent that is just around us. You know
yeah.
what I mean?
mm.
It's just truly amazing. And there was only a couple people that were kind of from the outside, and that was Sonequa and it was Mackenzie. But other than that, like, we just called our pals,
So the dance moms were just your friends from
Wynn Everett, who played, the main dance mom, she's a friend of mine. We've sent her the script and said, "Hey, why don't you bring your daughter? She can play your daughter can play your
Oh my
daughter."
god.
So thrilled and brought her up, and then the others were local and, connected to a producer. The you know um Michael Cudlitz was doing a show up in
Mhm.
Vancouver. Rick was in Band of Brothers, so he
He's
has
so
other
good.
he's
Oh, that
great, isn't
scene
he?
with him, he's so good
He's
because I get it where he's coming from, but it's so awful, and she's wha how did you f d did you know Mackenzie or,
We didn't know
that was
Mackenzie, and
really a
we
t
we we had a we had a Zoom with her, and Rick and I were like, "I think she's gonna be perfect. I just feel it." But if we rehearse, there you go.
Mhm.
yeah,
It's not magic, man.
Yeah.
And you'll know this. There's a little bit of magic, and that's what's beautiful about it. But, you wanna cut your teeth and see if you're any good? Go and be in the high school play. That's what we told these kids. It's
mm,
like, "You wanna be a professional basketball player? Well, how are you on the high school team?"
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
It's kinda like that. Um,
I think it's so true what you're saying is such a good I mean, it's something that I feel like I'm trying to teach myself over and over again of you have all these resources around you, and all it takes is an idea to kind of bring everybody together and a little bit of determination to then, execute it. But I think that especially, I mean, for something that I have struggled with is like thinking about the, you know, kind of like having these like idealistic visions of what these different projects should be or who I should be working with or whatever. And you forget that, first of all, the idea is the only thing that really matters and the execution of the idea. But then also that you have all the people, if you just kind of look around you in the community that you've cultivated. And I think so many of us skip that step because we become, as society does, you become obsessed with like the shiny things around you. And I think
mhm.
it speaks to how grounded your community in Kentucky is that you were able to just look outside your door and find all these amazing people.
Well, part of it though is how great um, uh, Rick is as a director.
Hmm.
Mm.
One of the best directors I've ever worked with. Period, hands down. And he always says like, you're kind of the it was Rob Reiner, I think, said, there's a party and it's your party and you're the host.
Hmm.
Right.
And but but he has a remarkable way of letting everybody in on the secret.
Mm.
Everyone totally knows what they're going into. There's no, which is really difficult. And that's what derails a lot of movies, especially small movies where people don't have time,
Yeah.
you know? And so I mean, he really is, it was, everyone knew what was going on, you know?
Yeah.
Mm.
Special.
Yeah.
In doing the movie and acting being relatively new to you, Audrey, at this point, I'm always so my sister is an actor, and I always like think about this in relation to her and my dad. What did you kind of actively pull from your dad and the way and his approach and kind of the way that he thinks about the craft? And then what have you sort of made your own based on your unique experiences?
Well, dad has always told me, I'm gonna get it wrong, Dad, but it's be prepared,
Over prepared.
over prepare, show up early, don't be a dick.
Good advice.
Kind of is.
That's it.
Yeah. And dad, it's funny because like I watched the movie and I noticed that we have such similar mannerisms and we make similar choices. Like there's like a a scene at the end when we're doing the split screen again and we're coming in and we see each other for the first time. We're making the same exact face. It's one of my
Mm.
favorite parts. And I think I just picked up stuff from him because he taught me so much.
Mhm.
Like dad would sit Henry and I down in this room upstairs we called the movie room and he'd show us like all the classics and you'd, like, pause it and be like, "Did you see what just was coming?" Or, like, we'd watch, like,
Mm.
The Deer Hunter, who's like,
Just interrupting the movie the whole time.
"So annoying, dude, so annoying."
It was kind of great. Like the whole point of that was like, look, I don't care what you guys do after you get out of here, but you're not going to the company Christmas party and not understand what "here's Johnny" refers to.
Right.
Right, right, right.
Right.
And I wouldn't preface anything. I would just go like, "All right, tonight is a little movie called Jaws."
Mm.
And then they were like, "What's next?"
Right.
I love
And
that.
then I show them stuff that they were way too young to see, but when I
Oh,
got
yeah, but genuinely learned a lot from it, and I
Mhm.
think
yeah, he had a reference.
Do you guys talk about working? Do you talk about acting a lot? Do you talk about craft? Do
Mhm.
you talk about process, or do you kind of just let it be what it is?
I mean, we talk about it all the time because now we do the same thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Fun to relate, and it's also, like, I have my dad to ask advice.
She sends all her auditions, which is
Yeah, I
great.
sent
Yeah.
him
Mm.
all my auditions, I'm like, "Dad, should I do this or" I don't
It's
know.
like number 2, the 3rd one, whatever.
Mhm.
But it's
Yeah,
nice to have
I
somebody to
feel
I didn't have that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always think that's the ultimate privilege. There's obviously a lot of kind of talk around, being the kid of someone. And like, I always feel that, okay, well, that's true. All that's fine and true, whatever. But the ultimate privilege I always think is that you can pick up the phone and be like, what do I do about this, this thing that I'm trying to make that's not working? Or what do I do if someone said this to me and I don't know how to respond? Or about
Right.
specifically about the craft. Like it's the most special thing that I feel like gives you. I like my dad would always say is like everything is demystified for you. You don't feel like you have to enter blind, which I just am so eternally grateful for it.
Well, it's kind of like, if you're a plumber and your dad was a plumber and he gets
Totally.
Yeah, I mean, that's why Ann and I wanted to do this podcast because it started out sort of joking about the Nepo baby thing, and I was like,
Mhm.
yeah, but I think it's such an amazing, special, like, I feel so lucky to share that with my kids, and I also did because I'm, like, multi-generational in showbiz, and so my dad was a producer, and like, my family's been in it, and it was such a unique part of our relationships. I mean, we shared that was quite intimate, and I have that with Anna and her sister Tess. And so we thought, wouldn't that be that's why we're doing it, to talk because don't you guys find it such an amazing thing to share?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
It's
it's
best. I don't know, the whole like, I don't feel embarrassed about the whole Nepo thing because 'cause I'm so proud of my dad.
Yeah.
I love that people associate me with my dad or
Mm,
say I'm similar to my dad. It makes me happy, if anything. Like, I want people to know. It's
that's
never been
sweet.
something that I've been like, "I can't tell you because I need to,"
Right.
Right.
I don't
Right.
know.
it is
Yeah. No, I feel
interesting
the
though.
same way.
In any other field, it's like, oh, thank God, a plumber. Like if you're the son of the guy that's great,
Yeah.
thank God,
Well,
you're
Totally.
we always
Or if you're
joke, we're like,
a
it's not like
lawyer
yeah, it's not like every,
or
like, finance bro out there isn't doing it because their dad did
Right.
it, you know?
right. It's like
Yeah.
then it's nepotism. It's like, well,
Did you
okay.
have did you I mean, I'm guessing, I think I know the answer, but did you have any, um, trepidation about I don't know if Henry's a performer as well. Is he or not?
No.
No.
Henry's a writer.
Oh.
A writer, okay.
Writers.
Henry actually, Henry, real quick, like Henry was an incredible lacrosse player in high school, right? And so he was like wanting to kind of do this D3 kind of lacrosse thing. And then he went to this summer program where he decided in like this that he wanted to be a playwright.
Wow.
And we were like, okay, there's 4 schools in the country that have playwriting. And so he decided to see if he could get into Northern Kentucky, which is one of them, and they take 1, or DePaul Theater School that took,
Mhm.
like,
Mhm.
6. And then we said, "Well, what if you don't get into either of those?" He's like, I think what'd he say? He's gonna go to New Zealand and work at a sheep farm.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Good.
yeah, because he worked, horses here anyway. But he got into both, and he went
Oh
to
my
he
gosh, wow.
he went to DePaul for 2 years, but again, it was during COVID, and
Mm,
he's the opposite of conservatory.
Hmm.
mm.
Did more yeah,
A
he
free
just
spirit.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Did he finish it or did he stop?
He finished at the University of Kentucky.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, at the University of Kentucky, right? 'Cause I mean, honestly, not to run down conservatories, but I mean, the only school is the school of doing it.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
some people can thrive very well within the structure I mean, Anna's a writer and she went to USC Film School and got a lot out of their writing program, but other people, and there's so many actors, just don't thrive in that
Right.
structured environment in the musical theater especially, I've noticed that, a lot of the kids that, come out of, the conservatories like yours or like Michigan or whatever, they
Mhm.
come out, they're taught, like, there's a right way to do it,
Mhm.
and there's
Yeah.
a thing and it sort of washes out their that individual thing that's actually what makes you an
Right.
actor and a
Yeah.
special person, that and it takes a while for people to kinda shake that off. I mean, it's the same thing if people that come out of Juilliard,
Right.
as actors, they're kind of, "Oh, now I'm a Juilliard student," and you're like, "Okay, cool, but wait, where are you in the picture?" You know?
Right.
And
Right.
super talented, but then people tend to figure it out, but it's definitely not for everyone, and most artists are, you know, genuine artists need to find their own path. That's what I really is what I find so beautiful the about your relationship and in the story of how you found your way into this, Audrey, and you guys making this beautiful piece of work together because it's like completely organic and completely born of, oh, this is the right, as you said, Steve, like there's no one who can do this but you. So I'm also curious. I was curious to ask you, like, you and Rick have formed this company of making stuff. Did Steve, was that just because you and Rick love making shit together? Or
Yeah.
did you say, no,
Oh,
I really want to produce now? And Rick was, well, I want to be
no,
a director
no.
and we're going to find projects? Or how did that partnership evolve out of your very successful acting career? And
We
Rick's too. He's a really good actor.
Yeah, and we met doing the show, and he was, my deputy, and we hung out, and we kept rewriting stuff and sitting down with them going like, "Hey, would be really cool?" know? And, like, and we got to a point where we're like, "We should just make stuff.
Hmm.
Why are we giving away the secrets that these guys this is" and so, we started with just making shorts. We just wanna work. We just
Hmm.
wanna do stuff, and it
Mm.
was fun. Those shorts are amazing. We invited our friends, Rosemarie DeWitt, she did one, you know, um, yeah, and so it just evolved. He had another script that we were gonna do called Hot Fruit. It's this, like, grape heist movie, which is great, and then we wrote this, and we are like, "Look, this is the first feature we're gonna do,
Hmm.
probably," right? And it was. So,
Mm.
we just yeah, we formed this company called Macaroni Art, and we're a production company, and w if we could just do stuff together for the remainder, I would be I would be so happy.
There's nothing more fun than working with your friends and your family who you think are really good.
I mean, this movie, I'm so proud of this movie. This movie was made okay, there's more people, obviously, but, you know, movies are made by 4 companies now.
Hmm.
Mm.
Back when we were cutting our teeth, there was 30 or
Yeah.
whatever,
Right.
a lot, and this movie was made by 3 people, you know?
Yeah.
We made all the decisions, and if you
Mm.
like it, great, and if you don't, it's our bad, but it's our movie, you know?
Mm.
And I I'm so proud of that, and to make an independent feature,
Mhm.
that speaks to people. I mean, we just sat around going like, "Whatever happened to those movies?" Like Mass,
Yeah. Oh
Black
my God.
Swan, you know?
Yeah, man.
Just about a kid with a crazy face and a really cool family. That's
Yeah.
it,
Mhm.
pretty much.
Do you guys, something that my dad and I talk about a lot is that evolution of the business and like how to navigate. Do you guys talk about that a lot? I mean, it's obvious, as you said, Steve, it has changed so much. Like what are those conversations that you guys have about kind of how to navigate this very particular time that we're in?
All I know is that I mean, Audrey and I talk about this. It's like, I know that there are things I have no clue about when it comes to social media and things and the importance of all that,
Mhm.
and I understand that, I just don't understand it, so I'm not gonna knock it. But the only truth I do know is that kill it in the room. I know when someone's really good, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
that's really what wins, right?
The work
Right.
is the only thing that
That's
makes
it.
any difference. I mean, I can casting, it's all nothing, everything else is irrelevant, really.
How do you feel about it, Audrey, now, like, getting especially now working in your first television role, like, kind of getting into that level in the business? What
Mm,
do you I don't know, like, what do you hope for? Like, what goals do you have? Kind of what do you notice now that you're really doing it professionally?
I mean, I really wanna do good stuff. Like, I'm really excited to see where things go.
Mhm.
It's very fresh right now, and I'm still in the whole, like, auditioning my butt off, getting close, not getting it, like, getting a ton of no's, you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
"Have you done anything before? It's not out. Okay, well, we don't
Come
trust
back
you."
later.
Exactly, like,
Yeah.
that's kind of where I'm at right now, so I'm really just open.
Yeah.
Did Carrie tell you her thing about collecting no's? Kerry
No.
Washington has this great thing. She's like, "Well, yeah, being an actor is collecting no's. You have to
Yeah.
collect your no's, which is like paying your dues, kind of." But I was like, "Oh, that's so good."
That's
Anyway,
Make it a
yeah,
positive.
Yeah, but
yeah.
then, like, I really lucked out with the Apple show, to be
Yeah.
honest with you, because they took a huge chance on me.
They
Hmm.
they hired her as a local hire, and so it was like and in LA, they shot in LA, and
Yeah.
so, we shipped her card, she stayed with friends of ours and stuff.
Are you living in LA now, or do you still live
No.
in Kentucky?
No, 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 I live
Okay.
in New York,
Okay.
but I moved to Jersey City, which is
Okay.
not
Mm.
far from where my dad used to live in
Right.
Hoboken with mom.
Oh, yeah, I used to live in you used to live in Hoboken, Steve?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I grew up
Yeah.
in
Oh, Anna
Hoboken.
grew up in Hoboken. Anna was born until she was 7.
Oh.
We lived there for 15 years. Where did you live?
I lived at, 1181 Washington Street.
Whoa, we lived on on Bloomfield Street between 11th and 12th, so, like, right
I
there.
did and my first apartment was on Bloomfield between, like there was an elementary school there across
Yeah,
the street. It was, like, 2nd or 3rd or 4th, I don't know. That
that's crazy. Wow.
I
Okay,
loved
well, good.
Jersey roots.
Yeah,
I
Jersey
worked at
roots.
the music venue at,
At Maxwell's?
yeah, I worked at
No
No.
Maxwell's.
way.
Are you serious?
Anna used to go to Maxwell's when she was a baby. That's where we would take her,
I
like,
would
to
eat
eat
the
and stuff, and
broccoli
I saw, like,
pasta there,
David
like,
Byrne play
every
there and
Yeah,
Springsteen.
yeah,
Yeah,
Soup Wagons and all these, like, crazy
Oh
right.
my
they had
god.
really cool
That's
venues,
crazy. It's
and I
no
used
longer
to
there,
yeah, I know, it's a
but
brewery.
Hoboken's gotten very fancy.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
very chic now
Yeah,
in
wow.
Hoboken
And Jersey City has
and
too.
Jersey City.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, we we were looking for places in Hoboken, we were like, "Ooh, this is just like New York now."
Yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah,
so true. It's so
that's
But
great,
true.
though. We love Jersey.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
love Jersey.
Well, guys,
Thank
we
you
don't wanna
so
take
much
too
for all
much of your
this.
time. This has been
Thank
an
you
awesome
so
conversation.
much.
We're so excited for you. Everyone should see, She Dances. It's just a beautiful film. And, yeah, it was great hanging out with you guys.
And congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. This is our initial kind of, like we're launching into this kind of,
Oh,
yeah.
good.
list now.
That's
So,
Of
so
promoting, oh,
exciting.
great.
yeah, this
It's
is it.
super exciting. Well, you should be super proud. It's really beautiful, and your work, both of you guys are just incredible in this film.
I will say I
Thank
was watching it on the plane on my computer yesterday, and someone, like, walked by and they were like, "What movie are you watching?" And I was like, "It's called She Dances. It comes out in a couple weeks." So,
Thank
Well,
you.
I'm doing
Like,
grassroots marketing for you on Delta.
thank you. Appreciate
All
it.
right. Thank you for tuning in to Far From the Tree. Be sure to follow or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.